Mr. McDonald, welcome to House Labor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. It's an interesting day to be here talking about minimum wage on St. Joseph's Day, since he was the patron saint of workers, so I'm very glad to be here. And by the way, any questions on FDR? I was born when he was president, so I can help you with that too.
Someday.
Also remember when chips were probably a nickel or a dime. We'd throw them on a coffee counter when you had whatever your dinner at some local diner and everything. And of course, over the years, it started to creep up a little bit. But I would suggest to you that 20 years without a raise, I don't think there's anybody in this room that's going to work for anybody for 20 years without a raise. The continuation of the sub-minimum wage for tip workers, that's like a gift to an industry that hasn't really ponied up. They're getting away with something that I think is unconscionable. It's time for them to consider that workers in that industry, and I heard people talking about how they have to pay their taxes, their business taxes. Well, I got a flash for them. Those workers, those wait staffs, they pay taxes, they have to register a car. Some of them might have a mortgage, they'd have to pay that too. So it's very, very difficult for them also. That sub-minimum wage, it smacks of legalized wage theft to me. This is time for them to give them a working wage. And it's also, in my opinion, unworthy of the state of Rhode Island to have such a low wage for people who work so very, very hard. Now, I'm fortunate in life. I've done fairly well for myself and my family, and God's been very good to me. But I'll give you an example. The other night, my wife and I said, let's go over to Uno's, because we like Uno's. It's pretty good. We had something nice. I think the bill was like $27, so we give them a 20% tip. It comes out to $6 tip. Not long ago, I went down to dinner for Capriccio's, and that bill was like $190. And, of course, I have to give them now a $38 tip. But the people that work there work just as hard as the person in Uno's. The difference is it's a high-end restaurant, and not everybody works in a high-end restaurant.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. I appreciate it. Any questions for Paul McDonald? And Mr. McDonald, if you have any other comments as well, I'd ask you to submit them in writing to the committee.
You want this?
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you very much. I know this is a long night, so
Thank you.
I will conclude there.
I appreciate